Developing now, the CEO of Arizona's largest power company is stepping down. Don Brandt announces his retirement from APS after 16 years with the company.
Team 12's Joe Dana is live in the Alert Center. And Joe, Brandt has led the utility during a prosperous and controversial chapter for the company.
That's right. APS is a regulated monopoly. It's expected to act in the best interest of customers who are captive ratepayers. But after the Supreme Court ruled companies could spend limitless amounts of cash on elections, Brandt, as CEO, went all in to influence elections of the very regulators that are supposed to watch over APS. APS spent millions in the 2014 election under Brandt's leadership, setting up the company for criticism ever since. Last year, it spent upwards of $30 million to defeat a solar energy initiative. It's been heavily involved in donating to local and state campaigns. One energy policy writer said, compared to electric companies around the nation, APS under Brandt's leadership has been especially brazen about the way they've attempted to dominate the political system in this state. Along the way, Brandt has rarely answered questions publicly about APS's activities. Now, he's also shepherded the company of more than 6,000 employees through enormous prosperity, reaching record profits for its parent company. Brandt is also a close friend of Governor Doug Ducey. Last year, Ducey said he considered Brandt a great corporate citizen, and he praised the CEO for APS's many charitable endeavors. Brandt is scheduled to testify before the Corporation Commission next month about the company's shutoff policies in light of a customer's death last year after she was $50 short on her bill. Now, Brandt's appearance will be the first time he's made himself available to commissioners in person in many years. That is still on the schedule. Brandt's successor is current APS president Jeff Goldner, who's been with the company since 2004. Joe Dana, 12 News.
Joe, thank you.